This week on CCU TV, we're taking a look into one of the biggest problems in Denver and what one group is doing to empower at-risk youth.
And CCU TV hosts 2015 Omalleys Alley. Catch a glimpse of Cougar Idol.
Plus, the Spring Musical finishes a successful run. All this and more, next on CCU TV. Hello, and welcome back to CCU TV. I'm Allie Gordon.
And I'm Sarah Hartland. The School of Music's production of Annie Get Your Gun wrapped up Sunday night at the Lakewood Cultural Center. CCU's spring musicals have increased in popularity over the years, attracting not only students, but members of the Lakewood community as well. After more than 6 weeks of rehearsal, the show ran for 5 nights and a matinee, nearly selling out. The cast and orchestra numbered more than 50, starring Jeanette Patton as Annie Oakley, alongside Ben Kahn as Frank Butler.
The cast is really one big family. It's really fun. We all get along and we're all there just to serve God instead of serve ourselves. It's a very humbling experience.
And seeing the body of Christ working in theater is my favorite part of theater, and it's really prevalent here at CCU.
The School of Music still has several performances before the end of this semester. You can see what's coming up at purchase tickets at ccu.edu/musicevents.
Elizabeth Armstrong is with us in Studio B with this week's Cougar Spotlight.
Soaring above the Swiss Alps was the last place Cami Lowry thought she would find herself, but studying abroad had always been her dream.
Experience the world, meet a lot of new amazing friends, and grow in myself.
Several of her family members had traveled abroad and encouraged her to do so as well, so Cami worked with the Life Direction Center to discover a program that would fit with her major, budget, and graduation plan.
CCU was great in the initial process of studying abroad. They really helped me kind of figure out all my different options, and then after that it was kind of up to me to decide which place I wanted to go to and the classes I wanted to take.
She ultimately chose to go to Florence, Italy with CCU partner program CIS Abroad. The art capital of the world, studying in Florence and traveling to Paris was a dream for Cami. She was able to attend Milan Fashion Week, model in a fashion shoot, in addition to studying art in school.
The classes I took while studying abroad really focused on how I would like to use my major in the future. I'm studying business at CCU, and in the future I would like to go into fashion and kind of interior design.
While Cami says that studying abroad was a time for growth, it was also very demanding.
Studying abroad, you're thrown outside your comfort zone.
Being outside the U.S., working with the language barrier, and adapting to cultural norms can be difficult.
I remember I had class one day, and I ran down to our little coffee shop, and I asked for a sandwich, and he was like, "Okay, what table are you sitting at?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm in class right now. Like, I have to get it to go." And everyone in the store just looked at me. And I was like, okay, definitely one of those moments that I realized they don't do that.
But Cami says that actively choosing to place herself in this sort of position catalyzed a great deal of personal growth and helped her to conquer her fears.
I went paragliding, which was probably the best experience I have definitely while I studied abroad and almost my entire life. It was definitely a rush that I can't explain and a peace that I can't explain.
Cami's family says they saw positive changes in her from the moment she got home.
She had grown a lot. She was more open, to things around her, a little more open attitude for exploring new things, new ideas, she definitely had grown up a lot.
The growth is obvious in hindsight, but studying abroad, taking that leap of faith, taught Cami to fly. In Denver, Elizabeth Armstrong, CCU TV.
If you are considering study abroad, schedule an appointment with your Life Directions counselor. Also, keep an eye out for the latest edition of Veritas to hear more about CCU students' abroad experiences.
This week, CCU TV is taking a look at a major issue here in Denver, gang violence. In 2003, Denver police estimated there were over 14,000 gang members affiliated with more than 220 gangs. That number has only grown. CCU TV's Elizabeth Armstrong takes a look at gang violence in Denver and at the organization looking to make a difference.
Sarah, earlier this week, I sat down with professionals at Denver Health Hospital. Through their program AIM, doctors and counselors are hoping to identify youth who are at risk for gang violence, then provide them with resources and mentoring.
I would say successful.
It's a phrase one rarely hears when discussing gang violence in Denver, especially after this weekend's uptick in violence that left 4 dead. Yet the members of Denver Health's at-risk intervention and mentoring program are seeing positive changes for kids.
And it's a hospital-based violence intervention program that targets youth age 14 to 24.
When children come into the emergency room with traumatic injuries, AIM counselors help to assess whether that child might become involved with or be victimized by future violence.
Their violent injury, if they consider that something that's part of the norm, or if that's outside of their normal everyday experience, what kind of violent injuries they've had in the past, how they're emotionally processing that, what their exposure is in their community to violence and to gangs, and if there's any generational or community involvement with gang activities.
Denver neighborhoods have long been a breeding ground for gangs, with a nationwide Bloods and Crips dominating the landscape, and AIM counselors can relate.
Something unique to our programs is that our outreach workers they have been previously at risk and are from the communities of Denver.
These counselors mentor the children, in addition to helping them find support services to break with the violence around them.
Often these youth will come in and they posture with a very tough exterior, but they're actually very vulnerable and they're very frightened.
Addictions counseling certificates, job retention, job readiness training, motivational interviewing. They have an array of skills that they use. Not necessarily every skill for every kid, but to meet each kid's needs.
The goal is to prevent children from returning to the hospital, and the results are encouraging.
The last time we did analysis, we had 1 return visit for 186 kids that came through the program.
AIM hopes to expand in the coming months and begin localized programs in Denver neighborhoods. In Denver, Elizabeth Armstrong, CCU TV.
This is the first in a series of stories that will explore current issues in Denver. For more information or to suggest a story, visit our Facebook page.
A miracle is what they're calling the rescue of a Utah baby trapped for hours in the car crash that killed her mother. A 911 call came in March 7th, reporting a car in the Spanish Fork River with someone trapped inside. First responders rescued 18-month-old Lily Grosbeck that day. Now dramatic body camera footage from one of the officers shows just how miraculous this story really is. Lily was pulled from the vehicle and rushed to the emergency room, showing no sign of life as paramedics try to warm her up and perform infant CPR. Finally, as they arrive at the ER, Lily begins vomiting as her pulse returns and she starts breathing. Just 4 days later, Lily is laughing and playing with her daddy, and it's hard to believe what she's recovered from.
CCU TV brings you the news you need to know. Officials in Vanuatu say at least 11 people are known to have been killed when Tropical Cyclone Pam struck last week, but the full scale of the disaster is still unknown, especially on Vanuatu's remote islands. The president says the storm damaged or destroyed 90% of the buildings in the capital. Aid groups are appealing for more help. Police in Missouri arrested a suspect in connection with the shooting of 2 police officers in Ferguson this week. St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Bob McCulloch says the suspect is a 20-year-old man. He is facing multiple charges stemming from the shooting, including felony assault. McCulloch says it appears the suspect was not shooting at the 2 officers, but rather was involved in a dispute with someone else. However, the investigation is ongoing. Neither of the 2 wounded officers works for the Ferguson Police Department. The officers were treated for their injuries and released. Hillary Clinton is being inducted into the Irish America Hall of Fame today. But before her acceptance speech, she was given a special gift for her new granddaughter. Although Clinton is not Irish, she is being honored for her role in the Irish peace process. Meanwhile, back in the U.S., the former Secretary of State is under fire for her use of her personal email account, raising questions about her involvement in the Benghazi scandal.
Ads promoting smoking have been banned for decades, but a new study suggests advertisements for electronic cigarettes still make people want to smoke. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania studied more than 800 daily intermittent and former smokers. They had the participants watch e-cigarette advertising and then ask them questions about their smoking urges and behaviors. The results indicate that images of people smoking e-cigs or vaping can create cravings for a real cigarette. Researchers also found that former smokers who watched e-cigarette ads had less confidence that they could permanently overcome their tobacco habit.
The CCU women's basketball team played their RMAC rival UCCS in Texas Saturday for the NCAA Round 2 playoff game. The Lady Cougars put up a great fight, but ultimately lost by 6 points to the Mountain Lions, who will advance in the tournament. To keep up with all your Cougar sports, follow them on Instagram and Twitter, or check out the athletics website at ccucougars.com to find game and tournament schedules.
Believe it or not, there is only 1 month left in the ski season. All major ski resorts except for Arapahoe Basin will be closing around April 18th. Jared Cummings is in with the ski report.
With just 5 weekends left in the ski season, the time to get up on the slopes is now. It is officially spring skiing, so we are expecting sunny skies and warm temperatures. However, this might be a good time to pay a visit to your local ski shop for a fresh wax and tune-up, because as the snow softens, so will your speed on the cat tracks. If you take a look at the chart on your screen now, you will see that the conditions this weekend will be absolutely fantastic. I'll see you guys up there.
Some of CCU's most creative talents took center stage at the 2015 Omalleys Alley lip-syncing contest hosted by CCU TV with the theme Cougar Idol. The 2015 Omalleys Alley winner featured the Becky G's singing in the shower, including the talents of two-time O'Malley's winner Trey Gass and friends Grant Landenberger and Chris Catlett. The women's soccer team took a close second with their showing of The Voice, and other acts included an LDC and Res Life dance-off, an RA lip-syncing battle, and Midnight Camp Dance Party. 2015 O'Malley's Alley proved to be a hit for visiting preview students and CCU students alike. Check out CCU TV's Facebook page over spring break to see a special feature highlighting wins and much more from this year's Omalleys Alley Cougar Idol.
A princess proves to be the belle of the box office this weekend. Disney's live-action fairy tale Cinderella was the top earner by a long shot at the movies. The film, starring Lily James, Richard Madden, and Cate Blanchett, raked in more than $70 million. In second place was a run-all-night Liam Neeson's latest action flick, earning an estimated $11 million. Kingsman: The Secret Service, starring Colin Firth and Samuel L. Jackson, came in third, bringing in an estimated $6.2 million in its 5th weekend in theaters. And speaking of Cinderella, Sarah's in Studio B with this week's Cougar Media Review. Sarah, give us your take on this week's biggest box office hit.
Thanks, Allie. This week on your Cougar Media Review, we're talking about a new spin on an old favorite. I guess you could say I identified with this story. That's better. I haven't been that impressed with the fairy tale remakes that have hit the big screen in recent years, but I gotta say, this one was pretty spot on.
Cinderella is a remake of Disney's 1950 animated classic of the same name. The film features Downton Abbey star Lily James as Cinderella and Richard Madden as Prince Charming. Cinderwench. Dirty Ella. Cinderella. My favorite part is the backstory we get on Cinderella's wicked stepmother. Finally, we get a glimpse of why she's so cold-hearted, and that tiny addition really added a great new dimension to the story. We also get to see the prince in a bit more detail, gaining insight into his relationship with his father, and finally seeing him fleshed out as a relatable character.
My father's teaching me his trade.
You're an apprentice.
Of a sort.
And I'll go on record for my 2016 Oscars prediction for Best Costumes. Sandy Powell had the entire cast decked out in a colorful and charming array of fantastically detailed wardrobes, including, of course, Cinderella's iconic blue ball gown and glass slippers. Altogether, Cinderella was, well, enchanting.
2 thumbs way up from me. Well done on this one, Disney. What about you princes and princesses out there? How do you feel about seeing a childhood favorite retold? Let us know at facebook.com/CCUTV. I'm Sarah Hartland, and this has been your Cougar Media Review. That's a wrap for this week's show. Thanks for joining us.
Be sure to like our Facebook page, and we'll see you next week here on CCU TV.